My Chemical Romance has probably one of the most interesting histories of any of the bands to come out of the 2000s emo explosion. From forming as a response to the events of 9/11, the Way brothers' substance abuse issues, Gerard Way recording vocals naked, the Black Parade being recorded and produced in a literal haunted house. They were even dubbed a cult by notorious British tabloid The Daily Mail. That's a story for another day. But did you know that one of the members of My Chemical Romance was once investigated by the FBI? Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Trevor and I am eternally uncool. I make videos about music, music culture, and anything that interests me. But mostly music right now. So if that sounds like something you'd be into, then I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and watching the rest of this video. My Chemical Romance is a band that has no shortage of interesting people in it. You have a flamboyant comic book nerd, a biracial guitar god, everyone's baby brother, but I think that the most interesting member of My Chemical Romance is rhythm guitarist Frank Iero. Frank Iero is a character, to say the least. A chronically ill, working-class punk who was born into a family of jazz and blues musicians, with a penchant for being a bit of a joker. Frank gives My Chem its energy, and that energy translated into a lot of his other non-My Chemical Romance projects. I made a video not too long ago about Frank's pre-My Chemical Romance band Pensy Prep. I want to do a video talking about all of Frank's other side projects because they're all really interesting and really good. But today I wanted to focus on the most infamous of those side projects, Leathermouth. Why is it so infamous, you might be asking yourself? Well, let's just say it's the band that caused the FBI to pay a little visit to Frankie Boy. But I'm getting ahead of myself. With all this in mind, grab a drink, grab a snack. I have neither. Get comfortable, and let's get into the video. In 2007, MCR was at the height of their fame. The year before, they had just released their seminal third album, The Black Parade, and it was making them massive superstars. This album was a masterclass in modern rock. Kerrang! Named it the 4th greatest album of 2006. Rolling Stone ranked it at number 20 in their 50 greatest albums of 2006. And My Chemical Romance as a whole won Best International Band at the NME Awards. They were now rock icons. For a band that started out with very humble beginnings, playing VFW halls and basements, playing stadiums must have been crazy and overwhelming. It certainly had to feel like a different world, especially for arguably the most punk member of My Chemical Romance, Frank.
We don't have microphones, so we need to just shut the fuck up.
Frank was always a little bit more punk than the other members of My Chemical Romance. They all had punk influences, but I feel like Frank lived and breathed punk rock. Frank has his roots in the New Jersey punk scene. He had his bands Sector 12, I'm a Graveyard, Hybrid. He was very DIY, booking and playing his own shows and basement and VFW halls and just out-of-the-way venues. The punk ethos are in Frank's blood. So it's no surprise that when My Chemical Romance was being heralded as these saviors of modern rock, Frank was moonlighting with a hardcore band. Frank Iero's friend Rob Hughes had started a band in New Jersey called Leathermouth. Frank listened to some of these demos and wanted to sign them to his label, Skeleton Crew. Unfortunately though, the previous vocalist did not write any lyrics to the band's music before leaving the band. So what was Frank to do? Let them go? No, of course not. Frank decided to join them, along with former Pensy Prep guitarist Hambone, and use the band as an outlet to vent his frustration with the political and social climate of the time. Iero talked about his reasoning on doing the band, saying, "I think there's a void of bands that are outspoken on things that actually matter. There's too much bad hair and white belts. Sometimes it's nice to turn your brain off and just listen to someone sing about girls. I'm knocking it. I do think there is a time and a place. But Leathermouth isn't like that. It's about hate. Hate that boils up inside and eats away at you. If you don't vomit it up, you know it will eventually destroy you." Leathermouth would play their first shows in the summer of 2008. While touring, they would get the attention of Brett Gurewitz, guitarist of legendary punk band Bad Religion and the owner of Epitaph Records. Gurewitz was impressed by Leathermouth's intensity and Frank's songwriting, and in October of 2008, he would sign them. And in 2009, the band would release their first
and only
album. EXO and Leathermouth in general is definitely a passion project for Frank Iero. He was very passionate about being pissed off. Pissed off at what? The world, pretty much. As well as his anxiety and depression. It's relatable content, for sure. He said that the songs on this album touch on topics that people often forget about or ignore, and how the world is just going to shit and someone has to say something about it. And it might as well be him. He elaborated by saying, "I would say this record is about trying to wake people up to what is happening right now in front of their eyes. We are all trying our hardest to pretend bad things don't happen to good people, and that there is some higher power looking over us. But it's bullshit. Stop covering your children's eyes. Everything is fucked, and pretending it's not isn't making anything better. I'm tired of people playing for a change when it's up to them to get off their asses and make a change." The album is short and sweet, a pure hardcore record. None of the songs exceed 2.5 minutes, and the entire runtime is about 25 minutes. It's also angry, very angry. You will not find any hint of MCR or Pensy Prep in here. Emo it is not. The playing is way more aggressive and heavy. Frank is screaming his fucking ass off. It's not very melodic. Here and there maybe, but as a whole, and that may turn some My Chem fans off. I know it turned me off when I was younger and not exactly into hardcore yet. But listening to it now,
holy shit.
It opens with the abrasive Fifth Period Massacre, which is about school, you know. And it's told from the POV of the aggressor, we'll call him. The lyrics are intense. The second track, Catch Me If You Can, Mr. Lusk, is about Jack the Ripper. The title is a reference to the From Hell letters, where he would write about his victims and pretty much just troll George Lusk, the chairman of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee. The song itself is actually really high energy and kind of fun, you know, for a song about a serial killer and all. My Immaculate,
or
this song is about being attacked by monsters, is about being attacked by monsters.
Duh.
I honestly have no idea if there's any deeper meaning to this one. It honestly just sounds like it's a song about monsters. Murder Was the Case They Gave Me seems to be about someone with ill intentions reaching their breaking point. You know, I misspoke when I said the songs weren't melodic. Some of them do have distinct melodies and kind of fall into the more melodic hardcore genre. And this song is definitely one of them. Sunsets Are for Muggings seem to be a call to arms for the outsiders of the world. At this point in the album, I'm realizing how much I really like Frank's unclean vocals. A lot of the metalcore and the heavier music I was into growing up had these, like, growling, deep, monstrous vocals, like. But Frank's vocals don't sound like that. They're a lot more kind of higher, a bit more of a tenor unclean, if you will. But it's still really raspy and vicious. You can hear it a lot in certain MyChem songs, but it's really exemplified here. My Love Note Has Gone Flat is about self-hatred and depressing thoughts. It's intense to listen to say the least. It really sounds like someone at the end of their rope. Body Snatchers Forever sounds like a really cool classic hardcore song, like it could have come from the early 80s. It's fast and loud and hella aggressive. It's also kind of a love song?
Question mark?
Your Friends Are Full of Shit seems to be a song about someone Frank Iero does not like. Seriously, he goes in on this unfortunate bastard. He talks about someone not remembering his name and acting too good for people he used to hang out with. Maybe someone within his scene who was like a dick and a poser. I like the aggressive call out of this jerk of a person. Leviathan confused me. It has these overlapping vocals that sound like Frank and someone else, or Frank recording himself and talking over himself, just saying nonsense. It kind of messes with your head a bit. Like if you had headphones on, I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable. I mean, it's a good song, don't get me wrong. It's just confusing.
You skipped a song. I looked at the track list and you skipped a song. You suck at reviewing. I hate your channel.
I didn't skip a song. Okay, I skipped the song, but it's for a good reason. I needed to talk about it all on its own. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that Frank Iero was investigated by the FBI. And there's a reason for that. It all has to do with a song on EXO called I Am Going to
Blank
the President of the United States of America.
Wonder why they thought he was a risk.
I don't know how much truth there is in this FBI story, but it's just one of those stories that's been floating around the MCR fandom for years. Apparently, Frank wrote it after touring overseas with My Chemical Romance. He saw a bunch of anti-American protesters and decided to write a song from the perspective of those protesters. According to Frank, the Secret Service visited him and said,
Hey! If you record that song, if you even fucking think about playing that song live, we're gonna fucking get you. And we can make it look like an accident, too.
Now, obviously the song was released because I played it just now, and it was released on the vinyl edition in 2018. Although, on the track listing, on the packaging, it's kinda in this Morse code. It doesn't say what the title is, but it's on there. So I guess the Secret Service let Frank off easy. How nice of them. Leathermouth is an interesting side quest within the My Chemical Romance mythos. It's much more aggressive and political than anything My Chemical Romance or the other members of the band have put out. I know Ray and Gerard have some songs that touch on social issues, but none of them are at the same level that Frank goes with this project. The band would dissolve around 2010. Frank said in an interview that some of the other members turned to religion and didn't want to do the band anymore. He said that he would like to continue Leathermouth, but kind of doubts that it will ever happen. They would briefly reunite in 2013 to play Skate and Surf Fest in New Jersey, but that was the last time Leathermouth played together. I hope Frank can do something with Leathermouth in the near or distant future. Maybe he can hire some new, less Jesus-y musicians. It would be cool to see him vent his frustration or just give his opinion on the current state of the political and social climate. And it would be sick to see Frank go hardcore again. Are you a fan of Are you a Leathermouth fan? What other My Chemical Romance side projects should I talk about next? Let me know in the comments. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, then I highly recommend smashing the like button and sharing this video with everyone you know. I am a small, independent content creator, and every like, comment, share, any interaction with this video at all really helps to get it pushed out to more people who might be into what I'm doing. I'm trying to reach 100,000 subs.
Eventually.
So if you know someone who's into emo music, pop punk, pretty much any kind of music, send them my way. With all that being said, thank you for watching. As always, I'm Trevor. Stay uncool. And that's the end of the video. Goodbye.